It's like a cross-country run, but at a breakneck pace, and where you can possibly actually break your neck.
This is StarTalk Sports Edition. We're going to talk about the science of the weird in this episode. More on that in a moment. Let me first introduce my co-host, Chuck Nice. Chucky, baby.
Hey, what's up, Neil?
Always good to have you. Actor and comedian. We get to say actor now along with comedian. You're acting and stuff. You didn't tell us. You didn't get our permission.
Acting like a comedian. That's what I said.
Oh, that's what that is. Okay.
Acting like a comedian.
Next time, you need our permission, if you're going to start acting. So, also, I got my co-host, Gary O'Reilly. Gary.
Hey, Neil.
Yeah, you're stateside, but
Yes.
you're fundamentally a Brit. You sound Brit. Mm-hmm. You talk Brit.
Yep.
You
If
think
it walks
Brit.
like and talks like, it must be.
But we've got you because of your professional experience as a footballer, a soccer player in England. It's great to have you on, as co-host. As always. So tell me about the sports of the weird, Gary, because, I looked at the notes and said, I don't know what the hell Gary cooked up for this show. So take us in.
There's a lot in the recipe here, Neil. Okay, in this episode, you'll hear me mention Queen Elizabeth II, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sir David Attenborough, who is royalty as well, the Wu-Tang Clan, Squid Games, and cheese. So you see, sports, it's a human thing. No other species on this planet invents a pastime and then organizes into a championship or a tournament. The ancient Greeks, well, they had the Olympics. And every village and town...
Wait, Gary.
What?
Even humans don't have that list of objects and people and phenomena and then connect them in any way at all. You're telling me you're connecting those in this episode?
Yes. And you'll see as we go along. Now, it's all about finding out the fastest and the strongest and, who can throw the furthest, all of that sort of thing. But there are sports that didn't make it onto the Olympic playlist. So if I mention a couple, extreme ironing, right?
Oh, I love that.
All right. Or mountain unicycling.
What is it?
So this Chuck, really, basically, what I'm saying is the Brits are mainly responsible for all of the silly, weird and wonderful sports that are out there. And we're going to look with our best friend, Charles Liu, at the science that's going to be buried in there.
Wait, we got Charles Liu. Oh, my gosh. Oh, Geek in Chief.
Hello.
Geek in Chief, Charles.
It's a great pleasure to be here as always. Thank you. Great to see you guys.
Back.
Yes.
This is like your 50th appearance on the show.
Something like that, yeah.
Clearly, we can't do the show without you. So you're our Geek in Chief, friend and colleague, the professor of astronomy and physics at the City University of New York, Staten Island.
Yep.
And Chuck, always good to have you.
Oh, it's such a pleasure
Charles,
to be here, as
always
always.
good to have you.
Well,
you're Charles
Chuck,
in this
Charles,
episode.
That's right. In this episode, I'm Charles because the true Chuck, there is the one true Chuck when it comes to StarTalk. And
that would be Chuck Norris.
That is Chuck Nice right there. Great to see everybody.
So, yeah. So all good. And like I said, as our geek in chief, however geeky I think I am, you're geekier. So that's why we have you on here in the geek spectrum, which knows no bounds.
You speak so kindly of me, sir.
So okay, what's the first sport you got lined up here?
All right, so I have to go straight for a British sport. Cheese rolling. Cooper's
yes.
Hill in Gloucestershire, thought to date back 600 years and be rooted in pagan rituals. All right, so here are the numbers, so pay attention. Cooper's Hill is 200 yards long. It has a gradient of 50% and it's near vertical in places. The original wheel of cheese weighed between 7 and 9 pounds. But it is now fake cheese made of foam for the safety of the spectators, which is a bit sad. The cheese has been clocked at 70 miles an hour, and the object of the race is to get to the bottom of the hill first and probably still be alive. It has been dubbed the world's most dangerous foot race. Charles, take it away.
Oh, my gosh.
Wait, just to be clear, when you say the cheese is going 70 miles an hour, it's rolling 70 miles an hour.
Yeah. It's a classic freshman physics problem, Neil. Remember all those days? You roll a wheel of cheese without slipping down an incline of 50% at 200 yards. At the bottom, what is its velocity? Remember those things?
Mm-hmm. Right. But you had to know you had to know how much did the thing like to roll?
That's right.
There's the moment of inertia, I guess they called it. Yes.
Right.
The disk of the moment of inertia, and then you have to figure out how much of the kinetic energy goes in the rotation and how much of it goes in the translation down the hill. There's this magical thing called rolling without slipping, which allows you to make some of these really cool calculations. If you start sliding, then bets are off. But we're assuming that these cheeses roll, right? They're not just like slip sliding away down the hill.
No, they're bouncing, Charles.
I was about to say, what
this is not
about
a
when they're
perfectly level
off the ground? That has got
I would
to
say
change
bounding.
things.
They're bounding down.
Okay.
Boom. That's right. Okay, it's get along, little cheesies. Okay, we're moving along. Here's your take. It's 200 yards long, right? Which is 600 feet. At a 50% grade, roughly that means what? It's the square root of 2, right? 0.7 is the height.
Is 50% grade a 45-degree angle?
Correct.
Is
That's
that right?
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So square root of 2 out of the...
So of 600
Pythagorean
feet,
theorem.
right? So that's so about 400 feet or thereabouts. Now, if you remember your physics from, like I said, 1/2 AT squared, how long it takes to fall 400 feet, the answer is about 4 seconds. Okay, so the acceleration of gravity going straight down, about 4 seconds. Each second you go 32 feet per second faster than you did before, or about 22 miles an hour faster, which means that if you've just fell straight down from the top 200 yards all the way vertically, like off a cliff, Wile E. Coyote kind of falling, when you hit the bottom, you'd be going around 80 to 90 miles an hour. Okay. But you're rolling.
Okay.
So some of it is going into your rolling, some of it is going away, and some of the times you're bounding, then you're not constrained by gravity at all. So 70 miles an hour actually makes sense. You could actually get to that speed. Now, a human being couldn't do that because we don't roll without slipping. When we roll, we slip badly, right?
That's how we roll.
That is how we roll. Score one for Chuck. Good job.
Man, that was a good one, Chuck. I wish I thought of that one. I'd say that's how I roll. I don't know how you roll.
Now, a person running, right, Usain Bolt on a flat field will run 200 yards at a speed of about 20 to 25 miles per hour. And so you get that gravity assist a little bit. Then it's a matter of trying to figure out whether you can plant your foot and rotate your speed fast enough, kind of like the Flash or the Roadrunner or something, right? Yeah, you have to make sure that your feet are synced with how fast you're falling, combined with how fast you can turn. So you could probably
wait. You said something very important there, Charles. What you're saying is, as you're running, this is so obvious that to say it, it's like, what? Is that what we actually do? What you're saying is, when I leap, I have to make sure that when I come in contact with the ground again, it's the bottom of my foot that's doing it,
Correct.
and not my knee or my elbow
or my
head.
That's right.
My chin.
Right.
Okay.
So therein, that's why you have the ambulances waiting at the bottom of the hill for this one, right, Gary?
Oh, for sure.
So the answer is, you have to time your motion of your feet to compensate not just for your regular running, but when you're falling, and then you've got to know where your foot's going to land. And so that's another physics problem. Fortunately, we human beings are great at physics. Not necessarily great at writing down answers on a piece of paper, but great at sort of calculating where our foot needs to be at any given time to reach the ground just as we are reaching the ground.
You mean physiologically we're good at that calculation?
That's right.
Without even knowing we're doing the calculation.
Our brains just do it for us.
If you actually watch people chasing a wheel of cheese down Cooper's Hill, they are not smoothly running. They are flipping, slipping, sliding, banging into each other and things, because this is a natural hill, so it's got all sorts of divots and bumps and lumps in it. So it's just hilarious to watch.
Wait, so Gary, I thought this was a race between cheese wheels. Because then, if that's what it is, we could preload the wheel using some physics, and you could win that every time if you knew physics 101.
Yeah.
So think back, Neil. This is a 600-year-old sport. They weren't the richest back then. So they could only afford the one wheel of cheese.
And that is way before anybody knew physics or how to win this. Right? So, Charles, what would you do to your wheel if you?
Well, you want it to have the most amount of its kinetic energy going down the hill and the least amount of it spinning, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Which would mean, wouldn't you want to squish the cheese to more like a bowling ball rather than a wheel?
Into the middle, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bowling ball filled with cheese.
There you go.
Wait. What's the moment of inertia of a sphere again? It's smaller than the rim.
I think it's 2/5 mr squared. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
2/5 of
if I remember
the
correctly.
Rim. Yeah.
So let me give you my equation. Here's what you do with the cheese.
Oh, Chuck's got an equation.
You
Just eat it. Just eat it.
Yeah, screw this game, guys. I'm hungry.
But the cheese is like 70 pounds, dude.
Okay.
There's plenty for all.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm
7 or
serious. It's
9,
not a
yeah.
But
race.
here's what I'm... Gary, can you eat a wheel of cheese after you roll it down a hill? Is it still edible is my point.
Yes.
Okay, well, in that case...
You got to wrap it really carefully.
Oh, yeah, they do. They put a wooden sort of case around it.
I was wondering, it's probably not brie.
It's now you mentioned it will be double Gloucester, which is a harder cheese.
Oh, good. Double Gloucester.
Not likely to end up splattering everywhere.
But is this just what we would call cheddar? And you'll call it double Gloucester?
No. Oh, gosh, no. Don't mix the cheeses up.
Sorry.
Cheddar, double Gloucester, red Leicestershire. It's all bonkers.
But
cheese.
it sounds like firm cheese. Okay, got it.
Yeah, it is.
Gary,
so I had it wrong. We're not
fromagier.
racing cheese wheels. You're racing people down the hill.
Following a cheese wheel.
And it's not a straight line, and it's not a thing. And Chuck, getting back to your Usain Bolt reference, Usain Bolt might not win that race because it's not a straight path.
Correct. It's like a cross-country run, but at a breakneck pace, and where you can possibly actually break your neck.
That's about right.
I got to tell you, when you explain it that way, I want to watch this sport.
Damn. Okay. All right. So, and this has been going on for how long?
About 600 years.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, if they use the same wheel of cheese, that's one hard cheese that's lasted for 600 years. That's like not double Gloucester. That's like quintuple Gloucester by then.
No, that's not going to be happening.
Fresh definitely evidence that there was no cable television back then.
No HBO for sure.
Exactly.
All right. So, Gary, what next sport? What next crazy ass sport you have from your home country?
Okay, we're moving out of Britain, but not too far. We're going to Norway.
Okay.
There is such a thing as the World Bellyflop Championships.
All right.
Okay, wait, okay. I don't have time. Wait, we have to put that in the next segment. Okay. Don't even start that until we have a fresh segment to put that in. This is StarTalk Sports Edition, weird sports from throughout the world. Brought to you by Gary. I got nothing to do with this one.
Oh, it's all me.
This is all Gary. All right, we'll be back in a moment. We're back, StarTalk Sports Edition. Gary O'Reilly has culled from throughout the world, specifically his part of the world, crazy-ass sports that, Gary, I think you made this episode take place so that one day we will look at curling and say, hey, that's a good sport.
Yeah.
I think you're trying to reset, or you're trying to recalibrate how any of us have ever looked at the sport curling. We got a geek in chief, Charles Liu, who's always good to take us to places we didn't even think of going, and of course Chuck Nice. So keep it going, Gary.
All right. So the World Championships of belly flopping is a thing, but it's really taken on a massive interest in Norway, where it's known as dodsing, which translates apparently into death diving. Right now, this sounds weird. It was invented in 1972 by Erling Bruno Hovden. You start on a 10 to 14 meter diving tower, which translates.
Well, just to be clear, 1972 was before lead was banned in drinking water and in household paint. Just right. That's 1 year before the laws went into effect, at least in the United States, of banning lead and leaded gas. But go on.
Could be anecdotal, but could be a connection.
I'm just saying. Put it out there.
So you're diving off of a tower into a swimming pool at 32 to 45, 46 feet high. There's classic belly flop, arms outstretched, legs outstretched. You just hit the surface of the water. Then there's freestyle, where in midair you have stunts, and then just as you're about to impact, you just curl up in a ball and cannonball through there. So
because it's not a belly flop, that's a cannonball.
That's cannonball.
But there's classic belly flop.
Okay.
So there's two different events. You can enter the classic or go for the freestyle.
Oh, so you can go. So freestyle.
Oh, okay. So the freestyle it's not how much splash you don't make; it's how much splash you do make.
And it's in the mid-air stunts. You have to perform a mid-air stunt and hold it for as long as you possibly can.
Got it.
So
okay.
I mean, a DODS is the dive. There is an international DODS federation, although the delightful people of the Norwegian Swimming Federation do not recognise it. The World Championships will attract something like 3,000 paying spectators. So it's quite a thing. So Charles, if I take a running jump as say like a man of 170 pounds or something like that off a tower some 30, 40 feet high, what sort of force am I going to hit the surface of the water with?
That's a good question, but you have to be a little bit careful about this because it's not so much the force that matters, right? Mm-hmm. The amount of force you're experiencing from gravity is a constant amount. Right, your mass times the acceleration of gravity, 9.8 meters per second. Rather, it's the momentum you have when you reach the water and how much time it takes for you to slow down, right? And then that leaves you with the thing called impulse. So the amount of force you experience is if you have a whole bunch of momentum and you're falling, and in a very short time or a very long time, you reduce that momentum to zero, right? So that's why, for example, when you're on the side of the road, you have these crash pads or near the toll booths or something that. The longer it takes for you to stop, the less force you will experience at any given time. So it's a combination of
that's
speed.
why high jumpers have big pillows on the other side of their thing.
You want to slow down their fall, not so much to sort of stop it. So it's not just the amount of force, which would be the mass of the individual. Well, 170 pounds is what, about 80 kilograms or 75 kilograms.
I got to say this just so that Chuck doesn't have to say it. So there'd be another Olympics where you have the pole vault and they land on cement. That's a different sport.
Did the Norwegians invent that too? They are tough people. I thought the ski jump was already bad enough. I don't know if they invented them, but imagine going down a hill in your skis through the air, like 300 feet, and then landing. That's really amazing. Those guys are very impressive. So bottom line is, if you're belly flopping, right, you are hitting not only quickly, you're stopping really fast, but you also have a large surface area on which that you're hitting. So every single spot on your skin gets smacked. Those good divers, well, I don't want to say good, those professional divers or Olympic divers, they're always trying to be as vertical as possible. Right.
As little splash as possible.
That's right. So that when you hit, you have the smallest surface area sliced through and you don't actually feel a lot of pain. Then you let the water stop you.
And the underwater cameras, they go down 10 feet or something.
That's right.
Yeah.
So over that 10 feet, they're slowing down.
That's right.
Right.
And that makes it really nice.
Now, at what point does the water itself offer enough resistance to just break you in half or like bust your bones up? Or I mean, there's got to be a point where that water becomes as hard as cement.
Well, it's
the Golden Gate Bridge. People don't survive jumping off that bridge.
Right. It's a surface effect, as it turns out, basically. But the way materials work, because you're going from an low density into high density, even if that water is liquid, when you hit, you can have a substantially strong amount of impulse that gets hit to you at that time. And exactly, when you're jumping from a high distance into water, if you hit even from your platform there at 30 feet or 40 feet, Gary, you can break bones, you can snap joints if you're not careful. So those belly floppers aren't just playing around. They're probably being very, very careful that they hit with the soft part of their torsos so they don't actually hit with their head and their chin going up against their the rest of their body and thus snapping something like a spine.
I mean, the record is over 100 feet.
That's crazy.
For one of these death
Wait, the
dives.
record for someone who lived?
Yeah, I'm guessing. I mean,
that's not the classic belly flop, right?
Oh, I hope not.
I'm sure that's the curling the curling into a cannonball at the last moment. You can probably hit with your, buttocks or something like that, and you're much less likely to break something that's irreparable.
Right. But you can't sit down for at least a week.
that water becomes your therapy space as well as your landing space.
Yeah, so it is interesting. So in the cannonball, if you hit butt first, so Charles, is a fat butt or a narrow butt better for a cannonball land?
Ooh, well there are two factors at work there, right? Because when you're talking about
I mean, the left butt cheek and right
the
butt
left
cheek?
and the right, yeah, that's exactly.
Okay.
If you're trying to minimize your cross-sectional area hitting the water, then you want that narrow tuchus, right? On the other hand, the tuchus has substantial padding, and that will slow down your time of deceleration, right? The amount of time it takes for you to reduce your speed, just like a bumper on a car would. So you may want more bumper to slow you down, and thus you may not want to hit directly as tail on as possible, but just a little bit off to the side so you get that nice fatty cushion.
But doesn't that dissipate the energy better?
Yeah, I'd have to do the calculations. I think that would be a lot of fun to do.
Okay, so Gary, this is now a 50-year-old sport. Does it make money? Is it?
If there's 3,000 spectators turning up for the World Championships, I'm guessing they make money because there'll be all the sort of merchandising. There'll be also, and it appears on TV. So they're selling the TV rights. They're selling out spectators in stadiums in Norway. So the World Champions of belly flopping, it's on.
Wow.
It's out there making money.
Norway television must really suck. If this is,
if that's a primetime special,
right? If this is a primetime sport,
okay, Chuck. Let's just
one.
get this fair. The winters in northern Norway are long and dark. And in the summers, the sun up in places like Narvik, the sun will not set during summer. So there's a lot of difference up there.
So the summer's the opposite of the winters. Mm-hmm. The days are long and it never gets dark.
Yep.
Yeah, because I think in the winter, the nights are long and it never gets light. Right, so that all switches out. So Charles, any fast calculation in your head about whether a 300-pound fat person relative to a 130-pound skinny person would do better in this kind of event?
Oh, gee, calculate real quick.
Because we think, with a lot of fat, it protects your inner organs, right?
Yep.
On a
Here's
fall.
If in the classic where you're actually landing on your belly, you do want more subcutaneous belly stuff to slow you down. When you land, you definitely want, in the classic belly flop, as long as you have good technique and you're landing on your belly properly, right, without bending your spine too much that you wind up snapping it or something, then you probably want to be larger and have more fat. Now,
so that would take the energy of contact and dissipate it into your fat without breaking your ribs, for example.
That's right. That's exactly what you would want. On the other hand, if you were that cannonball thing, you do your tricks in the air and then you curl into a ball and drop in, I think being thin would be better because then your profile going in will be smaller.
Right, and if you're heavy going into the cannonball, it'd be like in all of the water parks with the fish show, with the porpoise shows. There's a splash zone.
Yes, that's right.
First 10 rows.
Yeah. You would wind up producing quite a splash. No question about it.
Okay. So Gary, anything else you want to add to this before we go on to the next sport?
No, I think we've covered.
Allow me to just a shout out to the Norwegians. Okay. At this moment, the Norwegians, they have this fascinating sport, which is still intriguing to all of us on this panel, but they also have the world record for the 400-meter hurdle, and they have the highest ranking chess player there ever was.
Wow. Okay.
And this is a country of how many people?
8.
8 people?
8 people?
Yeah, that's right. 8 people.
Right, no
a
more
few million,
people,
somewhere between 5 million people, maybe.
Yeah, as many as in a metropolitan area of a city in America. So that's so they're doing something right.
Oh yeah.
You got give them their belly flop if the rest of this is going down the way it is.
Yeah.
Hooray for Norway, I say.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So Gary, what sport is up next?
Face slapping.
Oh no.
Oh.
Uh-oh. All right.
No.
Yeah, there it is again. Okay, we're going to take a break. And we'll come back. We'll come back and talk about face slapping as a sport on StarTalk Sports Edition when we return. We're back, StarTalk Sports Edition. Odd, unusual sports, all of which Gary invented.
Yeah.
With my Norwegian chums.
Yeah. We talked about cheese rolling.
Yep.
We talked about
Belly flopping.
And what's the next topic here, Gary?
As I said before the break, face slapping. I do not have an origin as national identity for this thing. It's been featured in Squid Games, the Netflix show.
Oh.
Get out.
Yeah. So here we go. They love it in Russia. One of their slap kings, that's the official term, is Vasily Chemostisky, or affectionately known as Dumpling, who weighs in at 370 pounds.
Oh, my God.
It's open to both men and women, but they don't hit, you say, women slap women, men slap women.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The rules are simple. You get 5 slaps each. That's if you get that far. And if you evade a slap, you get a foul, 2 fouls, and you're out. You can only use the upper part of your palm and cannot touch the jaw, temple, or ear.
What's left on the face to slap?
The cheek, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
got
can
to hit the
imagine
cheek.
someone...
It's connected to the jaw.
But you don't hit the jaw. You can only hit the cheek.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense because you don't want to break the jaw. You don't want to break
Charles,
the
you sound like
temple.
you helped write the rules. I thought you were as new to this as the rest of us on this call.
Well,
All right, go on, Gary. What else?
So we've got someone who's 370 pounds. His arms are probably like my legs, and he's going to slap me in the face, and I'm standing there and letting him do it. Ouch.
Wait. So what determines who wins?
Oh, if you just say, I've had enough. You have to stand your ground and be slapped.
but
And
wait,
then
you
it's
only
your
get
go.
5. You only get 5 shots, didn't you just say?
Yeah.
So anyone can handle 5 shots.
You think?
I don't know.
Not with someone who has meat hands coming at you.
Right.
370 pounds.
Because you've got a straight arm lever, you've got a gigantic hand that's coming at you at, I can't imagine what sort of speed, but I don't like the idea of that at all.
Here's how this game works for me. I get to go first, and then I quit.
See?
I go first, and then I forfeit. I
That's
lose.
it.
I lose.
All right, I lose. Oh, I'm.
But you know there's going to be someone who is so determined not to quit, they'll stick it out. Unless they get knocked out.
Yeah, these are crazy people, right? These are people who like.
This is the world of the weird
And
and
what
wonderful.
what country leads this?
I don't think there is a leader, although it is popular in Russia, apparently.
Man, so is this a spectator sport, Gary?
Yes, they have championships, and although the prize money isn't enormous, you get to walk out there with about $1,000 or something like that, and they'll have championships based around places. And obviously, there's weight categories. I would imagine, the 370-pound giant pitching up against the 100-pound weakling.
Right, you don't want anybody slapped into orbit.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Are you allowed to enter other people?
Oh.
as attackers or as targets?
Well, yeah, as targets.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, I'll tell you what, Gary. $1,000 or so can certainly buy you a lot of ice packs, right? So it's probably
Just
probably
exactly
enough.
the right amount of ice pack.
That's right. That's
Correct.
right. But I would not necessarily discount a thin person or a lightweight person doing poorly compared to a heavyweight person in this kind of competition.
Why?
Well, think about it.
It's arm speed, right?
The arm speed is what matters more than anything else. The kinetic energy is 1/2 mv squared, right? V, the velocity, it increases much faster than the mass, which only increases linearly.
Right.
So if you can be really fast, then you're good. Not to mention, let's say if you are thin, you might be more limber in your joints. And thus, when you get struck, you might be able to absorb it a little bit better by allowing your face and your neck and your joints to change. It's, again, increasing the amount of time your body has to absorb. The force and therefore experience less force because the momentum
as we
is
talked
dissipated.
about earlier. And
That's
just to emphasize a point Charles made, the most lethal bullets fired out of a rifle are not the fattest, heaviest bullets. They're very small. The M16 rifle, high muzzle velocity, is a 22 caliber somewhere around there.
Yes, .223. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so basically a 22 caliber bullet. So they said, let's give up some mass, but put it all in the velocity. And that's what makes it so lethal.
Wow.
So very good point, Charles.
Yeah,
So
that
Charles,
is.
what if you have less nerve endings in your cheek? I mean, how many nerve endings in a human cheek? Answer, please.
Millions.
Yeah.
But yes, if you were somehow genetically predisposed that you had fewer cheek nerve cells, then you might tolerate the pain a little bit more, right? But I'm thinking more along the lines of the damage that it would do to your face, right? How many blood vessels would break, the millions of capillaries that are in your cheek muscles, those kinds of things. And so in that sense, you can imagine a very not heavyweight person, but with a lot of cheek fat.
Right.
And that would make you a very strong candidate in this kind of contest.
So the similar thing to the belly flopping, so the dissipation of energy.
Interesting, right, interesting.
Cheeks.
Gary, you got one more sport, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, let's do another one of the finest sports ever created by the Brits, Shin-Kicking.
Oh,
Shin-Kicking.
from slapping to kicking.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
man,
What?
why do these sports have to be so violent? Why
Get you ready for soccer. Because
Why can't you do something like
all the time.
Nah, why can't you just do something like carry your wife or something? Wouldn't that be
there
a
is
better
that.
sport?
There is that. The Finns do that.
Oh.
There is a wife carrying competition. And it's over an obstacle course, and the
Is
wife.
this before they're married or after they're married in preparation for the threshold?
You don't actually have to carry your own wife or have a wife. You have to have a young woman or a woman over the age of 17 who you carry over. I think there's 2 dry hurdles.
I
and
would
then
just
there's
assume
a
they would
wet
be marrying
hurdle.
over that age anyway, and that wouldn't have to be a rule in the sport. But go on.
That's a rule. The rule is, in wife carrying, the woman must be over 17 years of age. And
Wow.
You throw her over your shoulders. Kind of. There's different styles.
Like a sack of potatoes, okay?
Well, no, I'm not referring to young ladies as a sack of potatoes. There's the piggyback.
Like a mink stole.
Yeah. Then there's the fireman's carry. Then there's a thing called Estonia style.
What's that?
Oh,
Okay, so basically, the woman is over your shoulders and her legs come over the front of you, and you
Okay.
hold on to those. And that, I suppose, Charles, is kind of like a counterbalance, a lever.
yes,
and
that's
allows
right.
you to
Wait,
then
isn't
run.
that called a piggyback ride? That's just a piggyback
No,
ride.
no,
you give
it's
your
the
kid.
reverse
the
piggyback.
woman's upside down.
Okay, I thought this was a family show.
I didn't make this up.
Let me tell you what you just described.
Come on,
I didn't invent the sport. I was going to go for shin kicking.
Right, no, these are sports at all. So how did this begin?
The wife carrying thing.
No. Just go to the shin kicking. Go ahead.
All right, so shin kicking is another British thing. It's in the same part of the world as the cheese rolling. So obviously they definitely don't have cable TV. It goes back about 400 years to a thing called the Cotswold Olympics, and that's Olympics spelt with a K. It should be on the surface the stupidest sport anyone could ever have invented, but there's something going on with it. It takes place in the beautiful area of the Cotswolds. They have banned steel toe caps.
Wait, is that a person, place, or thing? The Cotswold.
It's a place. The Cotswold. It's an area of Britain just to the southwest.
Thank you. Forgive my
it's chocolate box
American
pretty.
geographic ignorance.
I think there's a cheese named Cotswold, isn't there?
Yes, there probably will be. We'd like our cheese. It does have a deeper meaning, and it's strange. But if I explain it, maybe then you'll have a better understanding. Shin kicking is absurd, right? But not without this meaning. It's about standing your ground. It's about stubbornly resisting the assaults that come your way and giving back as good as you get. Yeah, it's
okay. So it's
a
about
bit weird.
revenge. Okay,
There's rules.
So
There are
You
rules.
can just you stand there, stand your ground. You kick somebody in the shins.
Yeah.
And then how much time do they get to recover? Because I've never been kicked in the shins. I've never bumped my shin on a coffee table. I've never even scraped my shin without immediately pulling it up to my chest and writhing in pain, or so how much time do you get to recover?
It's an ongoing bout. So here we go. This is the quaint British tradition. Each person has to wear, there's two people in a ring to begin with, right? A circular ring. And there's a judge outside. And they both have to wear white coats. They have to hold on to the collar of each of their opponent. And if they get them on the ground, they win. And there are 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 rounds. And you can only kick between the knee and the foot.
Okay. So it's like wrestling with kicking.
Yes.
You're holding the person like those. I forget the hold that when you see those guys wrestling, they start off with their hand on the neck, and then you get to kick the guy. And if somebody goes down, then they win.
You ground your opponent, you get a point. And you get whoever gets the most points after 3 rounds wins. Or if someone says, you know what, I've had enough, my shin's really hurt now, I'm going home.
It still sounds like, Gary, that people, they need more streaming TV services.
They do. Yeah. There are a lot of bored people. And the twisted mind that came up with this, I don't quite know, but it's a thing, shin kicking.
I hope they're allowed to wear shin guards.
Do you know what they do? So they wear trousers. And they stuff hay down the legs of their trousers to give them some protection. But really...
So it's not the least bit uncomfortable either.
No, not exactly.
The tried and true tradition of stuffing your pants. Yes, I understand.
I would have stuffed a metal plate down my pants.
This is 400 years old. The access of ready-made metal shin guards isn't really there.
Yeah,
straw will do.
That blacksmith would have been my friend. I'm with Neil on this one. Hay on top, metal against the skin.
I mean, there are so many more weird sports. There's a sport called goanna pulling.
Okay.
It's that the Aussies came up with that. Then you've got
you mean like Australians, not the Aussies like Ozzy and Harriet.
Right.
No, the Australians, the Down Unders. Then you've got chess boxing.
Okay.
Which has become, yes, you heard me, no T in there, Chuck, chess boxing. So you have a round of chess. They play blitz chess, right? So you have a round of chess, and then they go and have a 3-minute boxing round, come back, round of chess, 3 minutes, and they alternate. So you win by checkmate or knockout. Really, you have to have, I think it's called an ELO, isn't it? The chess sort of gradient system. You have to have 1600 and above
it's pretty good.
as a chess, and have been at least have 50 amateur bouts as a boxer to compete professionally.
So this guarantees that you will lose your cognitive ability.
Exactly.
So there'd be good data there. Find out what happens to your chess rating every time you get knocked out, and then this is important concussion data.
I mean, the thing is, science has taken an interest in chess boxing because it's the ability to flip-flop out of a physical, strenuous demand like a round of boxing and then sit down and be calm, cerebral,
an analytical
and focused.
strategy game.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know any real life situations where you might have to do that.
I think it's how the brain works and copes with stress and
this guy just
moving
beat
in
the
and out.
hell out of me. But right now, I got to do some calculus.
Well, that's what happened to me all the time in high school, Chuck. I don't know what's wrong.
Oh,
nice. Well played, sir. Well played.
Says the geek in chief.
In
so
the
guys,
best
we got to land that plane. So Gary, there's probably a longer list than we were even able to get to today.
I mean, okay, Conkers, which...
Well, I mean, we're out of time, Gary.
No, look, I've got to drop some names here. Conkers.
No, just in case the ones we've already discussed are not weird enough. Okay, go.
A favourite of Queen Elizabeth II and Sir David Attenborough. So I got those 2 names in. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is a big fan of face slapping.
Ooh.
Okay.
And the Wu-Tang Clan have a song about chess boxing.
What?
Nice.
There you go. All connected.
Well, by the way, we've had the Jizza on StarTalk. That was many years ago in our early seasons.
Yeah.
So we get around on this show. So wait. So what's the favorite sport of Queen Elizabeth?
She was a big fan of conkers, which is a horse chestnut. You know those things in the
You
autumn
swing
that
them
fall
on
off?
a
And you
string.
drill a hole, you put a string through, and then you try and smash your opponent's conker with it. Conkers. Another
What's a
British sport.
conker?
What's a conker?
It's a horse chestnut.
Yes.
No, what do you mean you won't have to smash their conkers with your conkers?
Yes.
Oh,
Interesting.
again.
You had me at horse chestnut.
So I would have more fun swinging cantaloupes at one another and having them smash.
That's the Gallagher version.
Yes, it is. Good one. Now explain to everyone who Gallagher is.
Yeah, you got to look up Gallagher. There's no
Yeah, you gotta look him
explaining
up.
him. Yeah, that's
Look him up.
if you don't know who Gallagher is, kids, just go to YouTube.
Yeah, look up any Gallagher clip. It'll
Any
say
Gallagher
exactly what
clip,
you
you'll
got to
see
say.
it, right.
My favorite line from Gallagher, and then we got to call it quits. He was the one that came up with, which was later then repeated by other comedians. I think he said, if pro is the opposite of con, then progress is the opposite of Congress.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
and God, that saying just keeps getting better with each
That
year.
came out of him. Yeah. All right, guys. Gary, we got to do this again because apparently
Yes,
we did not
have.
exhaust your list.
No, not at
This
all.
has been StarTalk, the weird sports edition. And Charles, always good to have you, man.
Pleasure.
All right, guys. That's has been StarTalk Sports Edition. Neil deGrasse Tyson here. Keep looking up.